Welcome to another episode of Winning for Life. Now we have a week after Christmas. Christmas, as in the Western world, we see the December days. And there even is a difference. Is it the 24th in the evening, like more in Europe, or is it the 25th in the morning, like more in the American areas? So when is it really when Jesus was born? And I want to reflect not just on the birth of Jesus, and is this just for the Christian world? If we see Christmas as a time of love and being together and peace, I want to challenge you, if you're not done yet, and I guess most people are not done yet, and I did it in seminars earlier, make a list of lies. Because a wonderful Christmas time is a time where a lot of people manifesting, programming lies and not seeing the truth. But if we say that's the time for love, I think it should be also a time of honesty and search for truth. That I mean that in a lot of families, they come together and pretend they love each other, but maybe not. Not every family member is really happy. Like my childhood, I was not so happy when we had Christmas because I needed to pretend, and the family pretended for photos and everything. Now we are so nice to each other. But over the year, it was quite different. Not with the list of lies, I mean something else. But let's start with the Christmas time, and then we go to different lies. So today, in the Western world, we have Christmas in December. It's the 24th or the 25th. But it's just for some people. Like in Spain, there's the 6th of January. And for a long time, what was more the focus on Christmas, the birth, is on the 6th of January. So what is true? And if you dive into the history, read something about what historians say, and the story is that Herodes wanted to count everybody, every soul in his country, and that's why they needed to move where they were born and everything. So some say, that can't be in December, because in December in Bethlehem it could be cold and even snowy. So they assume it was a different time. I once saw a TV series and they talked about, maybe Jesus was born in March. Some others say, if you go and Google it, no, it could be December, it could be October, but not really December. And then you can dive more into it, and then you figure out in the first years, it was never in December, it came later. So, and then it's even worse, because now we in the Western world say our calendar starts with the birth of Jesus. So we say that was before Christ, or is it after Christ? So that's how our Western calendar is. But those historians say, they guess Jesus was born even 2 years or 6 years before Christ. So we don't know actually what it is. And maybe it doesn't really matter so much for us, for our daily life. Was it before 1 year? Was he born in March or not? But what matters is that we grow up and strongly believe something. And if we program something, we're easily in a position where someone else says, no, it's not true, it was different, that we said, no, it is. I learned it from my parents, I learned it from church and everything. It was exactly on the 24th of December 2000, 24 years ago. I said, make a list of lies. And I like to start here, just now for the Christmas time. It is not true, but we believe in it. When you Google, why is now the birth in December? Because there was a conflict between the Jewish religion and then Christ came. Who was it? We assume Jewish at that time. And the Romans had different gods. And there was one Roman emperor who was more in a kind of culture of praying to the sun. At least the 25th of December is, if you look in the how the sun is going on the earth and the days are shown. So it's a time where the sun is turning. So till the 25th, the days are shorter and shorter, the nights are longer, and from then on it shifts, that the days start to be longer again. So there were in Rome, the cult, we celebrate this day. Like today in Sweden, we celebrate in June. That's the times are changing, the sun is going the other way around. So this was a really important day in the Roman Empire. And when there was one Kaiser who said, oh, I want to adapt now to the Christian culture, I wanted to bring this in. It would be an extreme challenge, not just changing the whole belief system, but changing also the dates when they celebrate it most. So we thought it's so much easier. We put now the day of the birth on the 25th of December. So that's what you can find if you Google historians. Like a lot of things, if you just look at Jesus, how we have it in the Western world, or God as we have it in the Western world. Yeah, I grew up with a God is white, one old man. So why does God need to be old? Only because Jesus said, my Father? No, there are some very young and fit fathers on planet Earth. Why do we need to have a God with a beard? So we created something. Why we in the Western world, it can go a lot of pictures, see pictures and go in churches, and then you see Jesus, but he's normally as a white man on the cross. And was he really a white man? If you go the 2,000 years back, who lived there? What was the skin there? It's more like an Arab. It's darker skin. So we changed a lot, and we believed. And I see even Germany, where I grew up, especially in those areas where the Catholic Church is more dominating, You see in classrooms, in rooms of government buildings, the cross. Why is this the symbol? And then you see a lot, in even classrooms or in churches, always Jesus suffering at the cross. But what is the real message to the people? And he says, joy of love. Love life. And is this picture on the cross really supporting, wow, I really love life? We know that he went in the temple and tried to throw all the merchants out and was really upset. He was a kind of revolution. That was his topic, besides all the love he wanted to spread and share. So why we are still praying so much more to the guy who's suffering? Some comic even said, oh, if Jesus died on the cross to take all the sins from the humans, but then he made a bad job because humans still sinning. Or does it mean we can do whatever we want because he was on the cross? We're free? It is just a manipulation from church. And it's not really joyful. And especially the Catholic Church really manipulated a lot and made us believe what is the real truth. So growing up in Germany, I was not born in a Catholic family, so more we were Protestants. So there were already, I call it Protestants, they were protesting against the dogma of the Catholic Church. But the Catholic Church in the Middle Ages, oh, give me money and then your soul is safe. Then you even, when they wanted more money and they said, oh, those who died before, maybe your parents, and they didn't pay, you can pay now for them, and then they come to heaven. There was so much lying to the people and misusing the people. And I guess I can say still today, if I look at Germany, how wealthy the Catholic Church in Germany is. Billions, really billions, at least every year, 1 billion euro needs to be exchanged in real estate they have. And they collect money via the government from most of the employees. There's really a tax for the church. So they're really, really rich, and every Sunday they ask, give more money for a good cause, give more money for a good cause. But we don't use our money so much for that. So it is tricky, and that's why if you dive into the history, yeah, we are not there what was 300 after Christ and so on. But if you look at the early teachings from Jesus, he was not against that priest or his disciple would be married. So what is the real reason why now the Catholic priest is not allowed to marry? Yeah, it's a nice idea that he married God. I don't think that God is so in the kind of marriage from man to man and judging that. No, what I saw the idea is because the bishop at that time was wealthy. They collected a lot of money. But the law is, if you die, who inherits it? Your kids. So all the money, church money, what was collected in the profession of bishop, went out of the church. So the saying is, oh, we invented the idea of celibat that all the wealth accumulated stays with the church. And in the end, did a great job. It is. Catholic Church is extremely wealthy. So I don't know what really is exact true, which year and which day Jesus was born, but I'm quite sure what they tell us, what they teach, what they program, that is not true. And we need to just, especially in the Christmas time, when we're thinking about love, honesty, reality, we need, that's my personal opinion for sure, get rid of all those wrong programmings, lies. Does that mean we should give up Christmas, 24th or 25th? No. We can decide we keep the date for especially family meetings. But we maybe don't need to have the wrong beliefs why it is. Besides, I'm not sure if Jesus really wanted that Christmas is, the time where we need to buy gifts, that we need to buy all the toys, create more plastic in the world and everything. I guess the Christmas time is misused also really to manipulate people to spend money where they shouldn't spend money. So maybe you can go with the idea that we should grow up as adults. And, it is fun. It was for me fun as a young boy in the first few Christmas that Santa Claus came and brought gifts. But another lie. So, list of lies. The first about Christmas itself, and now I just said, I grew up with Santa Claus. And when the first, 1, 2, or 3 Christmas experiences, I just saw the big guy with the beard, and I don't know how many Christmases I believe that is a real Santa Claus. But one day the question came up, why did this Santa Claus had a face paper? It's because it was wearing a mask. And then discovering it was a neighbor or uncle or whatever. So someone is playing it. Why do we need to do this to trick kids? Is there not a better way to give kids an experience of what real love is than having a fake Santa Claus? And to make it even more, this is a question, where is Santa Claus coming from? Did Christ invented it 2,000 years ago? No. After we talked already what Christmas is, there was no Santa Claus. And not in the Roman Empire was a Santa Claus. The Santa Claus, how we see him today, and amazingly around the globe, this old guy in the red suit, who created it? Where is it coming from? I guess you heard it before. Coca-Cola invented it. The Coke drink was a drink which mainly was used in the summer. So they made a lot of sales in the summer, but not in the winter. So they were sitting there, the manager of Coke, and discussing what could we do to have more sales in the wintertime. And Coca-Cola was always connected with red. So they had the red trucks And then they designed the Santa Claus as we know him today, in the red big suit. And that is now around 100 years ago, they invented it. And more people loved it. Because also, marketing can really penetrate something. And now we all believe, kids believe, that is really connected to the Bible, to Christ. It is a kind of religious ritual. And why teaching this to kids? Why manipulating kids? Because this is a kind of fun thing, and it's just so much nicer that Santa Claus are bringing the presents. Why we can't really be honest, authentic? Would it be really mean less joy, less love? I believe in the opposite. And that's why we're calling on it also winning for life. It is just, is this really the best for life? It's okay if you look at the history that we all had something what we didn't understand and created a kind of God for it. But that was just of the lack of more information that we did something. We created rituals in different cultures. What helps boys and girls to be an adult as a woman, or the boy with 13 needs to go in the woods and come back after killing the lion and everything. But then there were adults. They were included in the real talk, what people really thought. And it doesn't matter if it was nice stuff or bad stuff or war stuff, everything. But a lot of families today, the kids can be 13 or older, and at the table in the family, they're not discussing really what's going on in the world, how is the financial situation in the family, what money really means. All this so important, really existential stuff rarely is talked at the table when they eat together, when they sit together. There is not the family working on really, let's say, family income. Only maybe those who have a family-owned business, that so much earlier they talk about what the business means, what needs to be done. Kids are more involved in understanding what does it mean to have a successful business. But why are parents not talking about it? And it's often, at least I grew up, my grandparents also, my granddad was responsible for money, and his wife didn't know anything. When he died in the 80s and my grandma was 80, then the first time she needed to learn about money. And it was not so easy to really handle it right. So I really believe when we have these kind of Christmas, or in other things, like it's not only just Christmas, the other lie is how are kids born, babies, where they come from. We teach really fantasies. Don't dare to talk. Oh, if someone dies, what we say then? I believe if you would be all more honest and talking really from the heart, what is, all kids, everybody would live a totally more authentic life. The society would be different if we did. And if you look at some natives, they see birth, and that's different. We don't need to suffer if someone dies. We can even, some cultures make parties that this person lived and that we had the wonderful opportunity to meet this person. But especially in the Western world, and I give there a lot of, what say, what is, no, it's really a hard word, and don't want to read me. So, but the shit is most done by the Catholic Church, and it's interesting. There was a study where so much more psychotherapists, there are more there where the Catholic Church is. Because if you tell everybody you're bad, you're guilty, you're dirty, and only we church can do it, then we are in trouble. So that's why I strongly believe humans are more capable of handling the truth than we believe, because most parents don't dare to talk about the truth. Maybe the subpersonality tells them, don't tell it, the kids can't understand it yet. But I think the bigger problem is that the parents have the problem to say the truth, fear their own emotions. Like if it's kids or if it's dogs, if a kid doesn't behave right and you go to the child psychotherapist, they often treat the parents. If your dog is not really functioning well like you wanted, you go to a dog trainer. Quite often the dog trainer needs to train the owner, because we are not treating kids right, we are treating the animals right, because we are not treating ourselves right. And if you grow up, and I grew up, even in the Protestant church, but when as a child I needed to go to what we say is Sundays to the kids' church, it was more about, God sees everything and he will punish you if you're not doing this. He was misused also, and the 10 Commandments. And it was like, laws, don't do this. If you do this, or you will be punished. It took me years to understand that is this highly recommended energetically tips is about what karma you create, what you bring in the world. And it's not about manipulating kids. And in the early years, middle age, and when everybody believed the church is so powerful, they could even really say, now the Kaiser is kicked out of the church, and now everybody can kill him. No problem. So that was really a bad game from church for someone who says God is a nice guy. And that is one part why Jesus needed to be crucified. In different reasons, as rebel against the Romans and everything, but you say the main thing was a priest of the culture at that time. And if you go in the Old Testament, how religion started, they say in the first part of the Bible, God was punishing. He was stressing the people. That's why you sacrificed with animals, or even maybe with your son, to just get, mercy, God, because they always thought he is a bad guy. And Jesus came and said, it's the opposite. And Jesus said, no, that's not a bad guy. He is full of love. So it was 180 degrees different what the institution there were teaching. But with someone who is full of love and can, and for forgiveness, you can't really use for manipulating people. And then Jesus also, what we learn now with the computer world, we say business now can have lean management. We don't need everywhere the middleman. So why do we need the middleman church? Because the church made us believe without us, you never can go in heaven. You need to give us some money, you get the forgiveness from us. I tell you what you need to do, then it's forgiven. You're not allowed to connect to God really directly. And that's what Jesus tried to say. The Father and I are one. There's nothing in between. And that is a big revolution. And that is what we have today. If we have this lie that we always need someone in between, we have it with the culture in religions. That's why I'm saying is also Jesus didn't want to create Christians, followers. He was not interested in creating followers. Yes, some disciples, some teachers. But what he wanted is creating Christ, as I said, but making us aware. He was not creating Christ. He wanted to make us aware we are God's. Because if God is omnipotent and everywhere, then he needs to be also everything. So we are God. And why not that teaching kids? And if you understand really from this that we are God, we are like God, that we all have the power. That's not about waiting for the next Messiah to come from the outside. No, the Messiah needs to come through us. Like my mentor Bob Proctor often said, don't ask God to do something for you, what he only can do through and with you. And if you go with this thought that we are all Christ, that God made us, we know it, after his energy field or what you're saying, like him, the Father and the Son are one. We are all one. If you really, really dive into it and swallow it, that you are God, that all the kids are God. What are we doing when we come here with a fake Santa Claus? What are we doing with a fake Christmas? That we somehow pray to a Coca-Cola Santa Claus. We separate our kids more from the truth. And if we separate from the truth, we are always going away from love. It is totally understandable that if we don't understand things, like when I said first we think there was a bad God, a punishing God, an angry God, because the early men experienced things they couldn't understand, which frightened them. Is it floods? Is it thunder and lightning? So it's easy to understand that they have the idea someone is throwing the fire from the sky. And it is understandable that we grow up and think, no, we are planet Earth, and then we see the sun rising and the sun setting, and believe that the sun is circling around planet Earth. But the more we develop having different tools, and suddenly we realize, wow, not the sun is going around, the Earth is moving and is spinning. That's why we have the impression of sun sunrise, sunset. But today we know there is no sunrise, no sunset. But we still teach it to our kids. Isn't it a nice sunset? We could just simply say, isn't it a nice picture? Isn't it nice to see? Why do we need to label it sunset if it's not sunset? Yeah, it's not so romantic. Yeah, if you're in Key West, wow, there's a place where the couples meet, the young couples in love, and look at the sunset. Isn't it beautiful? It sounds different. Oh, there's a sunset, or the earth is turning away from the sun. Sounds so romantic. But it's up to us that we can have wonderful feelings of love, even if we face what reality is. We don't need to create all the lies. A lot of things just made to make more money. Like Valentine's Day. Wow, what is it? Is it a day of love? Is it, if I just spend the 14th of February nice with my partner, then I'm free the rest of the year? Is it that day? What is it? Is this a chocolate industry day? Is this a flower industry day? Is this a jewelry day? What is it really? And then we need to create the next thing, Black Friday, Halloween. But Christmas is big, 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 big in the merchandising. So what is really what we should focus most of? If we connect Christmas with the teaching of Jesus, then I think the message of Jesus should be the most important. But the true message, the real essence of his message, and not what we just make out. So I was grown up, and 24th in the evening we went to church. Not the whole year, but that evening we needed to go to church as a ritual. So we needed to go to church because before it was not possible to go in the living room where the Christmas tree was and all the presents. So someone, when we were in church, normally my mom, prepared everything. And after church, we were allowed then go in the room and see the presents. So I was trained, church is the time where you need to sit and wait. So not the real truth, because we were not living the truth. It is not, and some people say, it's not so important for God that you are Sunday from 10 to 11 a good Christian person. No, you don't need to go there if you're not the rest of the week really in connection with God. If you don't go to church, but the whole week you're in connection with God and live up the principles, then God loves you. Not that you fake something. And that's so the interesting thing also, how stupid we are in teaching, and that belongs on the list of lies as well. If we believe God is really powerful, I guess he would recognize if we go to church just to fake it. And it's not the truth. He recognizes that the whole week we are not there. And the best what we could do, if we want to be good Christians, be true to ourselves. Honest. That's the easiest way to do it. So I'm complaining a little bit here about the Western world, how we misuse a lot of those holy days. And in other cultures, like I just recently joined Japan, is celebrating now also Christmas, even they come from a totally different background, what means religion and culture. But It was not Coca-Cola there. It was KFC, Kentucky for Christmas. And there are two different opinions why it happened, but one is that the sales manager who was responsible for the sales in Japan got the idea to do something special for Christmas. By accident or whatever, but he saw the possibility, and today, after KFC really promoted this, Christmas in Japan is chicken and a special cake. But it's all kind of Kentucky Fried Chicken. No, Kentucky for Christmas. And it's huge now. Everybody's doing. And the kids today born, they grow up now with Christmas is chicken. Not sushi, chicken. And it's amazing what can happen. And I believe if we take Christmas really serious, the message of Christmas, we somehow should sit together, the family with whom you celebrate, and dare to make the list of lies. What else is it what I'm programmed? What else I'm believing, and it's just an opinion, I don't have facts? What else is guiding me maybe in a totally wrong direction? What is the truth? Where is this coming from? Or when it was maybe years ago, okay, is this really still good for us? And for us is the family, for us is the society, for us is the world. And I strongly believe in what we call winning for life is be honest, dare to be honest. Even some say the truth sets you free. And it's tough to figure out what's the truth, and you can't figure out and prove what truth is really. You only can check all theories, all those programming, is this really real? So we need to have joy in figuring out, is this true? We need to have joy if we are disappointed. And disappointment means, wow, that is not the real point. Happy to be that, because we don't want to keep up illusions. We want to live the truth. We want to live the real integrity, the real authenticity, the real love. And that is a big challenge. So that's why I also made this episode after most people experience Christmas, so that you can reflect, how was your Christmas? And maybe when you're now planning the next year, 2025, put more wishes for truth on this. Program yourself more. I'm ready to live an authentic life. I'm ready go for the truth. I want to win. Yes, okay, but for sure, I want to win for life. And then the best is yet to come. Be inspired.